Why do I have so much respect for our teachers? It was the fall of 1990, and I was in my very first year teaching middle school social studies. We're in homeroom. We just finished saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody sits down, and that's when Jason looks up and says, "Mr. Revis, I don't think I should have to say the Pledge of Allegiance every day." I said, "Well, Jason, why not?" He said, "Because I don't believe in witches."
Of course.
I said, "What? You mean like that fly around on brooms and stuff?" He said, "Yeah, I don't believe in those, so I shouldn't have to say it." I said, "Jason, what are you talking about?" He said, "You know, we have to say that pledge to the flag every day, to the United States of America and to the republic where witches stand. I don't believe in them. I shouldn't have to say that." The classes are changing between first and second period. I am doing my best to try to ignore a conversation off to my right between Glenn and BJ. When Glenn looks at BJ and says, "Hey BJ, where's that real cool watch you used to have? Man, that thing was cool, had a compass on it and everything. How come you don't wear that anymore?" BJ said, "Oh, it exploded."
What?
Now, try as hard as I might, I couldn't not listen to this story between Glenn and BJ. Glenn looks at him and says, "Well, what happened?" BJ said, "Oh, well, you see, I got some water down in it. I got water down on the inside of it, and I wanted to try to dry it out, so I put it in the microwave, and it exploded." I wasn't even in the conversation. I was off to the side shaking my head. Glenn, however, was completely unfazed, staring at him, calls him on it. He says, "BJ, you dummy, why didn't you just put it in the dryer?"
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
BJ says, "Oh, well, I did. I did that at first. I tried it at first, but it just clanged so much, made so much noise. So I put it in the microwave. And boy, you don't want to go over 2 minutes on those things." 8th grade civics, current events. Timmy's hand goes up and asks me, "Mr. Revis, who was that guy a few years ago? We went over there, we flew those planes over, we dropped those bombs on him. We dropped the bombs right on him." Well, before I could get out the name Gaddafi, he goes, "Oh yeah, esophagus." And I was like, "Timmy, but before I could tell him, "No, Timmy, the esophagus, that's like your throat." Rose, the little chubby cheek girl in the back, goes, "Timmy, you dummy, everybody knows esophagus. That's Big Bird's friend on Sesame Street." I was like, "Rose, no, that is Snuffleupagus." It's the end of the day, 7th grade history, and we're trying to finish strong. Got the map of the world up there where all the different explorers are going. We had Ponce de Leon, Magellan, Christopher Columbus, just getting after lesson. The kids are locked in. They're engaged. I got them, We started talking about the French and their quest to come to the New World to try to find a Northwest Passage, a waterway through Canada to the Pacific. I said, but try as they might, they couldn't find their way through. They ended up settling in that area. Why couldn't they find their way through? And one kid says, "Well, ice. It's cold up in Canada. I bet there's a lot of ice up. There's no way to get through." I was like, right, nailed it. Cross-referencing geography and history in the same lesson. It was beautiful. So when Jamie's hand went up, the first thing I thought was, well, what could this kid possibly be asking? That was perhaps one of the greatest lessons ever taught. There should be no questions. Maybe he has to go to the bathroom. So I called on him, and Jamie had this habit of going high-pitched with his voice whenever he asked questions. I don't know why. And he goes, "Hey, Mr. Revis, listen, I've been thinking." I was like, "Okay." He said, "These guys, they're up there floating around in these boats and stuff, right?" I was like, "Yeah." "And they're running all this ice and stuff, right?" "Yeah." "Well, why didn't one of them just, go up to the front of the boat and just take and put, say, like a microwave on front of the boat?" I have no clue what my kid's fascination with microwaves was. "Put a microwave up there, crack the door open, and heat it." They could have melted it. They could have melted all that ice down and gotten through to the other side. Why didn't they do that? Why did anybody think of that? And I immediately thought, well, there is no way this kid could be serious. He's trying to be the funny guy in class. Well, he's not going to make everybody laugh. Well, he's not going to do that in my class. I'm going to have to do something about this. But when I looked around the room, nobody was laughing. They were all agreeing with him. They're like, yeah, why didn't they do that? Why didn't anybody think of that one? Boy, all those guys back then, they were really dumb. And I was like, guys, really? Really? You want to melt Canada with a microwave?
No. He's got a point.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to be the dictator teacher and just slam all the answers at them, right? I wanted them to figure this out for themselves, work together to solve their problems, cooperative learning. After all, among all the things and why this might not work, surely somebody in the room knew that there was no power, no electricity back then, right? We'll start with that. So I opened up to the class. I was like, okay, class, Jamie has a theory here, but quite honestly, that would not have worked way back in the 12, 13, or 1400s. Can anybody tell me why? Eddie's hand goes up. Eddie, why won't this work? He goes, Jamie, you dummy! Everybody knows that ain't gonna work. I was like, Eddie, don't call Jamie a dummy, but tell us why it won't work. He says, 'cause duh, everybody knows when you open the microwave door, it won't heat.
Honestly, you should clap because he is a genius.
I was like, Eddie, no. I mean, yes. You're right. When you open the microwave door, it doesn't heat. But quite honestly, there's a bigger reason why this would not have worked way back then. Does anybody else have any other thoughts? Daniel's hand went up. Well, I knew Daniel had it. He was like the smartest kid in the class, and he kind of liked to show off, show that he was smarter than everybody else. I didn't care. I just needed the answer. I was like, Daniel, everybody's forgetting something. What is it? He goes, oh, you all aren't thinking. I said, what, Daniel? What aren't they thinking about? He goes, oh, they're on a boat, so where are they going to plug it in at? I heard one of them yell, yeah, the extension cord's not going to reach that far, is it, Mr. Revis?
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I finally broke down. I told him, I said, guys, man, they didn't have that stuff back then. There's no power, electricity, there's no microwaves. No microwaves? Well, how did those people back then, how'd they cook their popcorn? I didn't know. I didn't know. That's why I respect teachers and think they should be the highest paid profession in America. So all you teachers out there who are fighting the good fight every single day, God bless you for what you're doing, and thank you from all the rest of us.